Hey everybody, Plowboy here, and I want to talk about TPUSA in a logical, reasonable way. All right? The first thing I'm going to point out is that TPUSA is a little bit on the weird side. I'm going to point out the big three. We'll get to that. We're going to get on the one-on-one problem, the pastor problem, the movement versus ministry issue, the identity swap, and the idea that something could be a little bit off. All right, so moving on. Episode 1, TPUSA is weird. Now, it's kind of a political movement, and it's more of a revival type of atmosphere. It's got a lot of manufactured energy. It's kind of like cosplay. It's very surface level, and it's very hype driven. There's a lot of crowd electricity, but it's mistaken for the Holy Spirit, and it gives people an emotional surge. And the crowd effects, they get goosebumps. They feel they have all this momentum and all this power. And it's a lot of emotional hype that's substituted for spiritual depth. I think it's a little bit shallow. I think it's very performance-based. It's very noisy. And it's basically politics marketed as spiritual urgency. Now, the language they use a lot of Christian language, but they've kind of hijacked that. And it's kind of misused and blurred in all of the hype that's going on around it. And they use a lot of spiritual terms like activation, campaigning, momentum. And they use a lot of faith language. And it's very tribal. It seems very tribal. And it's kind of misaligned with what a ministry would be. Now, Charlie's intent was to mobilize voters. He didn't want to disciple believers. His strategy was activation, it was politics, it was agenda, and it was non-pastoral. There was no discipling going on. It was his intent to build a brand and not really to build character within people. There's a lot of numbers, there's a lot of expansion, a lot of branding, a lot of visibility, and a lot of growth with Turning Point USA. And the energizing the base is not transforming the heart necessarily. It's just kind of this adrenaline rush, this emotional thing, but it's very shallow and very non-spiritual. It's built around identity and politics, not Christ. They are very tribal. And there's this fandom thing that's going on with TPUSA. It's kind of weird. Anyway, back to the weird thing. Jesus reasoned gently. He wasn't confrontational. He was very soft. And Paul quoted poets, not dominated debates when he went into cities. This is just a weird model that they have going here. It's great for politics, but don't be thinking it's some big Christian movement. Because I really don't think it is. The New Testament was spiritual. It was a awakening into the realm of Christ. It was never political. It was always Christ-centered and Spirit-led. And Jesus himself never rallied crowds. He never was like, hey, all you come that are weary and heavy laden, I will give you rest. And I will give you a smackdown on your political ideas. That was never what Jesus did. And it has a very debate culture versus disciple making. It produces a lot of viral clips, and that's kind of what Charlie got famous for. And he's got an opponent mindset, not really a shepherding mindset. It's political adrenaline versus spiritual formation. And the big takeaway from this first part is that being a loud Christian doesn't make you a biblical Christian. So noise, volume, performance, these are all great, but it doesn't make you a biblical Christian. And it certainly does not make you an authority, which is what many of these people are trying to be. From Allie Beth to the pastors, they're just they come off as these spiritual authorities. I'm just not buying it, man. I'm just not buying it. So at the end of the day, they're not evil. They're just not biblical. They're misaligned, and they look spiritual, but they run on politics. They have good intentions, but they don't have gospel alignment. They are sincere, but sometimes that misdirection leaves a gap. So you got to kind of be really careful. And once you see it, you will never be able to unsee it. All right. TPSU is Weird, Episode 1, complete.